Hi, my name is Angela Reina. I'm a fifth grade teacher at Blandford Elementary School. I'm here today to talk to you about Loser by Jerry Spinelli. Loser is a book about Donald Zinkoff. Zinkoff is the student who goes to the beat of his own drum. He's both noticed and also forgotten by his own classmates. But what makes Zinkoff so different is that he doesn't realize all of this. And by the end of the book, he's seen as a hero. This year, I decided to read Loser using book clubs. After reading 2 chapters a day, I would pose questions for my students in the chat, and then they would go into their breakout rooms and discuss the different questions that they had. In addition to that, they would have their own questions. My students really took to heart the character Zinkoff himself, and they were able to come up with different character traits about him and bring that up in their conversation. Even though other students at Zinkoff's school didn't really connect to him, Zinkoff had really good relationships with the other people in his world. He had a strong relationship with his father, the people of his community, his mom, and some of his teachers. Some of the questions that I would ask the students are to make connections between the way Zinkoff and his relationship was with his dad and their family, or a relationship that they had with their teachers, whether past or present. In talking about relationships, my students and I talked about that there's positive and negative relationships. My students created an email chain with another classmate. One student was Donald Zinkoff, and then together they decided to be another character from the book. They could be the waiting man, the old lady. They could be Claudia's mother, Mrs. Meeks, one of Donald's teachers. And they created a chain of emails back and forth. That also really helped the students when it came to their writing because they got to step into the shoes of their characters, which allowed them to improve their writing for their characters on their own end. I was able to use Loser as an exemplar text for my creative writing. Before starting their chapter books, my students first started off with a Google Drawing by creating a vision board of their protagonist and their antagonist characters. They started to think about what are their characters' likes, what were their dislikes, what might they wear, what time do they wake up in the morning, what were some of their secrets that they would only tell their best friend. I wanted my students to know their characters before they started to put them down, pen to paper. In addition, I had them do a vision board for their setting. By doing a vision board for their setting, they had a reference to look back to when using imagery in their writing. Donald Zinkoff wasn't that great at school. During the whole book, he only got an A on one test. But there was a test that he took that kind of took him unexpectedly. It wasn't a test academically. It was a test about him. One of the questions that he was asked was, who is your best friend? And this was really hard for Donald because he didn't really have a best friend. What I had my students do then after reading the chapter is I had them pretend to be Donald Zinkoff and they come up with these rules that Donald Zinkoff had about having a best friend. I have to be honest with you. This was my first experience with reading Jerry Spinelli. But after reading Loser, I fell in love with his writing, the way that he wrote his characters, the way that he described the details of the settings and the relationships that he built. This is not the last Jerry Spinelli book that I'm going to read. I'm going to read all of them, and I encourage you to read them too.